What about Parshas Parshas Parah? The whole thing with Zachor gaining a significance, like people attributing to it or having more chumras in the performance of the commandment. The old minhag was the men made sure to be in synagogue at the time. That's mentioned in Shulchan Aruch already. Men who normally wouldn't go to synagogue made sure to be there for Zachor. As we explained, like the Vilna Gaon, based on the Gemara and Megillah. It just means why? Because that's how this Torah reading allows us to fulfill our obligation. It's not like this Torah reading was mandated by the Torah, unlike all the other Torah readings. It means that through this Torah reading, which is always Chazal mandated, we fulfill the commandment. It's like the way to read Kriyas Shema. The Torah says we should say Shema in the morning and in the evening. The sages tell us how to do it.
There's
What?
not to be done every day.
What? No, the six Zechiras are that's also the idea that you have to recite six passages from the Torah. Zachor is weak. As a matter of fact, the Rambam says, with all the Zechiras out there, right? Let's go. I put online for people to know, like a chart. Okay, each time Zachor is mentioned, there's a different way to fulfill that commandment. So for Shabbos, there's said the Zachor means recitation of Kiddush, right? Zachreu, alayayin and through Devarim. Whereas the Zachor of Amalek is actually connected to Ketov Zot Zikaron Sefer. Because the Zachor is Zikaron Sefer, you have to read it from a properly written Torah scroll. Hence, that's how you fulfill the mitzvah, by reading it from the Torah.
So
Whereas
not something that you got to say every day.
no. And the Zachor of Yetzias Mitzrayim is just that. You should always remember how you left Egypt. But you don't have to Zachrei al Yayin. And what are the other Zachors? Zachor, what God did to Miriam. How do you know? Yeah, that's what someone asked to hear. What is the practical application of the Zachor, what God did to Miriam? So the Rambam explains, you should not speak Lashon Hara. That's what it means. Don't speak Lashon Hara. And he gives the example. He says, Miriam, if you do the calculations, was quite a few years older than Moses. She was his babysitter. That's what it says. She was watching over him. He was being hidden at the link. Where does the Rambam say this? Okay, I'll send you the sources after Shir, okay? I'll send you. No, I'm telling the guy online. I'll send you the link after Shir, okay?
So
Egel Zahav. And that means what? Don't forget to keep the Torah. Okay? Keep the Torah all the time. But none of them have a practical thing that you have to. For Shabbos and Amalek, Chazal actually said you have to go through doing something. So for Amalek, it's read from the Torah. That's where we derived the Trasha, Ketov Zot Zikaron B'Sefer. They say it's the same thing with Megillas Esther. When you fight Amalek, that Amalek episode also has to be written down on a proper Torah-like scroll, what's called Parah Tanakh, and then read out loud. That's why you can't, let's say, discharge your obligation to hear or say the Megillah through ordinary speech. You have to actually have someone read it. It can't be done by heart. So that's also the nafkamino. Why is it Mikra Megillah, but Lishmoa Kol Shofar? Because the shofar, the sound of the shofar is not written down on cloth. One guy makes the shofar vibrate, and that we all hear that sound, so we all discharge obligation. But you're going to say, so maybe everybody should have to read the Megillah. Maybe everybody should use their own eyes and read the Megillah. That is a good havamina. And the answer is, one person doing it out loud for everybody and saying it discharges everybody else's obligation. Shomea Kiloneh. Okay? So there you go. The Zechiros are all different. Now, the Mishnah Berurah was the one who said, there's a thing, Zecher. So read that word twice. If I were a real Grunnik, by the way, I was in the Old City today in Jerusalem, and you go to the Kurva and places like that where everybody's wanting to do like the Gra, which is good in one sense, but also they have to move beyond it because there are things that even the Gra didn't get to do and things the Gra didn't teach us. You can't just say, well, I'll do like the Gra did back in Vilna. Yes, that was quite halachically progressive in a good way at the time, but you have to move on now. You have to. The Gra I don't think would be in favor of continuing to pronounce the tough like a Samech or the Cholim like a Kametz Yud. I wish I could tell all those people, but whatever. At least they picked up Tcheles, and they're way ahead of us in many other departments. So if I were a real Grunnik, I would say, Dafka, you know what you should do? Instead of doing like the Mishnah Berurah says, say Zecher and Zecher, whatever it is, what should you do? Just read it the way the Gra read, and that's it. Just do like the Gra, like everything else. Those who do like the Gra, and not say, and we'll do like the other, main idea. No, the other main opinion. We're just going to do like the Gra, period. I wonder if people like that exist. But either way, as we saw, the Gra himself, it's a machlokas, what he said. And it's not a machlokas what was written there. The main machlokas is, how did the Gra pronounce his Seirei? And like I tried to say, it means the Gra didn't pronounce it Seirei like an A, like we do in Yiddish and in English. It was actually a sound that was closer to the Segol. So for the Talmidim who were unaware of this, that the Gra was pronouncing his halachic Seirei different than the common Seirei, so it sounded like a Segol. But for the Talmidim who understood what the Gra was doing, they knew, no, that's not the Segol, that's a Seirei. It's the Gra is much more nuanced than that. Okay. By the way, the Gra says about Parah, which is this coming week. What does it say about Parshas Parah? There are some who say also it's similar. It's a Doraisa reading, right? That's a Tosa Sofer because there's no Talmudic source for such a thing.